It is great to have you with us here on a Wednesday night, and we begin tonight with the new and significant revelations from the Department of Justice over documents they seized from former President Trump's home at Mar-a-lago. The DoJ now saying the FBI went into search after evidence surfaced that there were still classified documents in Mar-a-lago, even after a Trump attorney said they had all been handed over. And the DoJ points to evidence that government records were likely concealed and removed from the storage room at Mar-a-lago, and that efforts were likely taken to obstruct the government's investigation. In the end, more than 322 classified documents have now been recovered there, some at the highest level of classification. The revelations in a 36-page court filing, the DoJ urging a judge to reject Trump's request to appoint a special master to review what has been seized. The DoJ arguing they've already had a filter team go through the documents, essentially what a special master would do. In June, Trump's attorneys had provided a signed document saying that all the material in question had been turned over. But when the FBI went in, they found more than 100 additional classified documents, some in desks in Trump's personal office. Some of what they found seen in this photo release, documents marked top secret, some SCI, sensitive compartmented information, meaning only a select few should ever see it, and in the most secure of locations. Tonight, we await a response from the former president's legal team. ABC's Chief Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas leading us off from Florida.
Tonight, the Justice Department methodically laying out how they struggled to retrieve classified documents from Mar-a-lago in the face of alleged lies and resistance from Donald Trump's team. Their blunt conclusion: efforts were likely taken to obstruct the government's investigation. The sheer number of classified documents is staggering: 322. 184 were handed over to the National Archives in January. Then in June, Trump turned in another 38. At that time, his attorney in a sworn statement said the additional documents were discovered after a diligent search, insisting there was no more classified material on site. Trump has repeatedly insisted he cooperated fully. But the FBI claims it soon uncovered evidence from multiple sources indicating that classified documents remained at the premises. That's why the FBI said there was an urgent need for a warrant to search the president's home earlier this month. What they discovered: over 100 classified records, including information classified at the highest level. DOJ even releasing the picture of some of them. As you can see, they're clearly marked secret, top secret, and SCI, sensitive compartmented information, only for the eyes of those with the highest security clearance. DOJ noting that in a matter of hours, they recovered more than twice the amount they received in June, when Trump's attorney told them everything had been turned over after their, quote, diligent search. According to DOJ, Trump's attorneys insisted that all the documents were stored in one location, a storage room. But investigators determined government records were likely concealed and removed from the storage room, revealing they even discovered 3 classified documents in the desk of Trump's own office. When he ran against Hillary Clinton, Trump insisted he would handle the nation's secrets with the utmost care.
In my administration, I'm going to enforce all laws concerning the protection of classified information. No one will be above the law.
Now he faces the potential of criminal charges, and his legal team is fighting back, asking a judge to name a special master to review seized documents and weed out any privileged information. But DOJ says that's unnecessary, that they've already done all that work themselves.
So let's bring in Pierre Thomas. He's live in West Palm Beach, Florida tonight. And Pierre, the judge hears arguments tomorrow on all of this, on whether to name a special master. But the Justice Department, as you just pointed out there, making it clear they've already had a filter team, a separate team, go through all the documents and removed a, quote, limited set of materials that potentially contain attorney-client privilege. So essentially saying the job of a special master has already been done here?
David, DOJ is pushing back, saying this is unnecessary because those special filter teams have already gone through the material and weeded out what was not secret. And David, members of those teams have to have the highest level of security clearance to even do the work. Trump's attorneys are expected to respond to DOJ's filing tonight, David.
All right, Pierre Thomas leading us off from Florida. Pierre, thank you. Let's get right to our chief legal analyst, Dan Abrams. And Dan, you and I were pointing right to this line overnight that was significant. The Department of Justice saying the government has developed evidence that government records were likely concealed and removed from that storage room at Mar-a-lago, going on to say that efforts were likely taken to obstruct the government's investigation. That was key here. And you said the other big reveal is just how hard they tried to get these documents over and over again.
The timeline. They lay it out in the documents, starting from 2021, that they're trying to get these documents. They get some documents in January, supposed to be all of them. Then they realize this isn't all of them. They end up getting a subpoena. They get a promise. This is it. You have all of them in June. And again, they realize we don't have all of them. And then finally, the search warrant, turns out they get double the amount of documents from the search warrant that they got when they were promised that everything had been handed over in June.
So this has been a very long back and forth here. In the meantime, they choose their words very carefully, particularly because this involves a former president, and use the word obstruct the government's investigation. Does this up the ante when we're talking about potential charges here?
Certainly they're potential charges. We just don't know if they're going to file them. The fundamental question is going to be, was the primary goal to get these documents back into a secure location, or was it to get these documents back into a secure location and potentially build a case here? And we just don't know the answer to that question.
And one last question for you, Dan, before you go, and perhaps this isn't a legal question, but more for folks at home just scratching their heads. You know, a chaotic departure from the White House, a box gets mixed in, and some people would say that's a problem in and of itself. But what has appeared to be the case here is something much larger. We're talking about hundreds of classified documents. Why would a former president take this amount of material, if any at all, but this particular amount with him?
Yeah, this document shows that it couldn't have just been chaos. There was some level of intentionality. The question is, why was it done, and how long did it go on? And there are a lot of questions that still need to be answered, which is why they're saying that the investigation is ongoing.
Dan Abrams with us again tonight. Dan, our thanks to you and to Pierre Thomas tonight.